Hey everybody, it's Clutch here from the Sodak Motorcycle Blog. And well, we're about to do a video about probably the dumbest, probably the most stupid supposed rule in the motorcycle world. And that is, you can never put your motorcycle in the trailer. Which, well, for the record, that's a BS rule. And here's why. So, you know, yeah, it's pretty easy for someone that's in a nice temperate weather area to say, yeah, you should never trailer. But I don't know, how many of you rode a motorcycle when it's 30 below zero before? Because we get that here. A lot of places in the Midwest get that. A lot of places up north get that. So, yeah, sure, you do ride all year, but, you know, you live in, let's say, southern Nevada, and the coldest temperatures you usually see in the winter are maybe down in the 30s at the least. But here's another reason why, you know, maybe sometimes you would have to tow your bike. Like, I don't know, let's say it dies on you. Let's say your bike's got a problem. Let's say one of those fancy new bikes you have, let's say the key fob just decides, nope, I'm done, and it bricks your bike. I mean, there's several instances where, you know what, sometimes you're going to have to tow the bike. So the point of today's video is I'm going to show you how to get your bike into a trailer and get you where you need to go. Now, this would apply, obviously implies in trailers, but also, you know, the bed of a pickup truck would work. Basically, essentially, you're getting your bike somewhere where you're not actually going to ride it. Because sometimes, like I said, sometimes you have those situations where it's just not possible. Or it just doesn't work. It's inconvenient. You're coming across country like Sturgis Rally or something, and maybe you got just 1 week off, and you live down, let's say, Miami way. That's a long ways. I mean, I'm guessing like 3,000 miles probably. I mean, that would take you quite a few days to drive up. And really in the end, if you got, let's say, a typical weekend, so let's say you got Saturday and Sunday off, you have that whole next week off, and you got Saturday and Sunday off. So basically you got 11 days. And well, or no, 5. You got 9 days. Let me tell you, if you're riding a motorcycle straight up from Florida, unless you're just wrenching on it and just going the whole way, which can be done, most of that time is going to be spent basically riding to where you want to go. And if, like, you're trying to get to somewhere like Sturgis, and that's the destination, it really sucks to get up there and you're there for a day and you got to turn right around and ride back to where you came from. So that is one reason why you would tow. Like I said, I talked about breakdowns too. Honestly, I think everybody should know how to do this. And that is why this is another episode of the Rider's Manual of Common Tasks. The Rider's Manual of Common Tasks. It's the video series that I host here at Sodak Motorcycle Blog that basically teaches you common tasks I think every motorcyclist should know. And we've covered topics from oil changes to, what else have we done? How to set up a vest. What else have we done? T-clock, you know, doing your T-clocks inspection. We've done quite a few of them, and actually you can check out the playlist. It'll be at the end of this video, or if you go to Sodak Motorcycle Blog's main page and you search for the Rider's Manual of Common Tasks, they're pretty easy to see. They got the RCMT somewhere on there. Basically, that's the abbreviation for it. So, like I said, they're just good little things that I think every motorcyclist should know. And, well, today we're going to cover trailering your motorcycle. Obviously, to make a trailer happen, obviously, first thing you're going to need is, well, you're going to need a pickup or something that can pull. You can pull with the car. You're going to need, big thing you're going to need is some kind of a receiver hitch. And in that hitch, you're going to need some kind of ball adapter. And let's see here. Ball adapter, just like that. What that does, that goes right inside there. You put it in with that pin, and there you go. You can tow. Now, big thing with this ball, they're different sizes of balls. You got the standard one you see is 2-inch. For the most part, for a 2-inch ball, you're gonna see that on most of your open flatbed trailers. If it's just a generic, you know, 5x10 flatbed trailer, something like that, little utility trailer, got a 4-pin wire on it. The 4. What they call a flat 4, which that's what the plug-in for them looks like. you're probably going to be a 2-inch ball. However, if you got like an enclosed trailer, bigger trailers, those are going to take 2 5/16 balls. So make sure you're verifying what the right size is. Let's see. Don't think. Yep. So my trailer doesn't say it is, but I know it's a 2 5/16. But that's a big thing. Make sure you verify what size ball the trailer takes before you do this, because, well, if it takes 2 5/16 and you put it on a 2-inch ball, guess what? It's probably going to come off of there. So that's why it's so important to have the right sizing. So, and here, the second thing, like I already talked about, you're going to need your trailer. Any trailer will do. Basically, you're going to need a trailer that can basically haul some weight. Other things you're going to need, possibly, not necessarily, but possibly, another thing you're going to need in your trailer, probably some kind of a wheel chock. Basically, the motorcycle drives into it, that chock holds it in. So there's that kind of chock. There's also some just more open chocks. Basically, they just kind of hold your wheel in. Partially for when you're strapping, and partially it gives some force so you can pull against it. Now, you don't necessarily need a wheel chock. In fact, I have hauled motorcycles without wheel chocks before. They are helpful. But one big thing, if you're gonna haul without a wheel chock, make sure you're pulling the straps from all 4 directions, basically keeping it balanced. That's the big thing with that. But yeah, trailer, pickup. Let's hook up. Now, one thing when you're working with this, I would recommend get yourself just a cheap pair of gloves. I mean, you can get them for like $10 at any kind of hardware store. Just a cheap pair of leather gloves. Best things about it, kind of protects your hands from when you're working with stuff. Also, it prevents you from getting grease all over everything. Biggest thing though, if you're wearing gloves, make sure you pull them off before you back up your vehicle to it, because you don't really want grease and everything else all over your vehicle. Now, backing up, you're kind of aiming for the center of the trailer. I would recommend, if you're doing this for the first time, if you can get it, maybe get a helper, because that'll probably help your life out a little bit, because then someone else that can see. Or if you got enough vehicle like this one, you got plenty of camera support to help you. Biggest thing when you're backing up to a trailer, you just kind of want to get everything centered. So use your mirrors. And see where it's nice here where I got an enclosed trailer, well, I can just kind of center it a little bit here, because I can see it pretty easily. I'm kind of aiming just for the center part of that trailer. And I'm actually going to cheat here. And we're going to switch my camera up, because I have a nice little ball hitch camera right there. Most of you aren't going to have that, I'm guessing. But if you do have it, I would recommend using it, because as you can see, look at that right there. Look at how much it's already, yep, it's all in focus there. I can go lift up my hitch. Don't forget your gloves. Whenever you're hitching up, make sure your ball's above your hitch there. Also, now is the time to make sure you remove any and all locks. Got ball locks, something like that. This is the time to remove them. And then either you're gonna have a little tab that pulls up, or you're gonna have something like this where you lift it up and straight back. Kind of depends on your equipment. So be mindful of that. All right, we got this found now. Let's finish hooking up. Gloves can go right there. Got my nice, oops, ball hitch right there. We're gonna have to, and of course it goes in reverse. It switched on me. We're gonna wait till it's kind of underneath the ball. Now, if you're doing this without a camera, you're gonna have to just basically guess. Having a camera makes this a lot easier, but like I said, a lot of you probably won't have that. You don't necessarily need a camera, but they definitely help for sure. Now we should be, yep. It should just kind of slide right on there. If you're having an issue, don't be afraid to give it a little kick. Sometimes you got to do that. Okay, now, one thing I like to do here, now that we're at this point, let me get to where you can see me. Now at this point, I'm actually going to pull a little bit up on it. What I'm doing here is just making sure that I have the right hitch, which I do. This is another way you can double check to make sure. Because if you got a 2-inch hitch and you got a 2-inch ball, you're running a 2 7/8 or a 2 5/8 on it, or 5/16 on it, you're probably gonna be able to lift it straight up. So when you are hooking up, always use safety chains. I mean, there's several ways you can do them. You can cross them, whatever. You know what? The bottom line is, make sure you're using them. These just help for, yep. Are they gonna hold the trailer fully? Probably not. But you know what? These will, you put these on to kind of slow things down a little bit. If it does break loose, come loose, at least maybe it'll slow it down a tad, which that's better than nothing. Because you really don't want a trailer running away on you. And trust me, I've known people that have had trailers run away on them, so we've gotten pretty lucky, I think. Okay, so we got that there. We're gonna plug in our lights here. Okay. Plug it in all the way. Make sure that there's a little detent in there. Make sure your detent's clipped. Last thing we want to do is put whatever you got for a hitch lock on there. Now, I actually have a combo lock. You don't necessarily have to have a lock. It's a little bit extra security. Yes, if someone wants to steal it, they will. But here's the thing, you're trying to slow them down a little bit. Also, it secures this. Even if all you do is just put oh heck, what am I trying to say here? Even if you put just a cheap little carabiner or something in there, or they got them little clips, it's like just basically it almost looks like a bolt that's got a piece of wire on it that comes around and holds it. Just something like that will help you out, because it'll keep this from coming undone on you. That's the biggest part of that. And also, like I said, it might stop someone who's trying to maybe take your trailer, possibly. All right, we got that hooked up. Now we have our trailer hooked up, we are going to check the lights. Now, when you're checking lights, this is where it helps having someone to help you out. But if you're doing it by yourself, like I am, you're on you. So, first thing you're gonna do, turn on your headlights. Yep, chances are you're gonna be an automatic. So flip it over to the one that doesn't have the A on it. That's the one that's not automatic. Then you come back, you're gonna look at all the lights. Make sure all your lights are on. Just like so. Yep, we got all our lights. Got our tail lights. Got our, all our other marker lights, cool. In theory, yes, you should be doing, we'll do it right way. So, left turn signal. Here you go, your back. Make sure you got a left turn signal. We have a left turn signal. Go back to the vehicle. Now normally, because I have a newer F-150, They actually have a little deal in their app where you can actually turn on the trailer lights and it'll activate the trailer lights for you. It'll run through the whole cycle for you, but I'm just showing you how to do it on your own. So we got turn lights now, turn signals. Now, last thing you have to do is the brake lights. Now, if you don't have, what am I trying to say? If you don't have someone with you, you're gonna have to wait till someone's with you to do it. However, we're gonna do it like this. We're gonna use my little Ford app here. Now I would do these checks the minute you're, you're basically getting ready to pull the trailer. Do these checks right there and then at that moment. Because if you don't, well, you might have some issues. If I can get the app to load. There you go. So Ford Pass, we got trailer utility check. Yeah, it's gonna say it can't do the check. Yep, so now it's doing it. Yep, there's my left turn signal. My right turn signal. There's my brakes right there. Yep, there we go. We got them all. All right. And we're done. Yeah, this little, the app's a little wonky. But yeah, there you go. We got our light check completed. I'm gonna shut that off. Now, one more thing I almost forgot to do. And this is where taking a look around your trailer, and always do this before. Okay, good. Anyways, yes. So one thing I forgot to do, and I'll point it out to you real quick here. Let's go and grab this camera. Still running, yep. Okay, so I forgot to pull those little jacks you put on the back. Make absolutely sure you do that. That's also why before you move any trailer, you're ready to go, you do one last 360 before you take off with it, just to make sure you're good to go. Because you can never be too sure. And if you got any doubts, any question about it, stop before you do anything stupid, okay? Like, I'm telling you, just be smart and take the few minutes. Basically, it's all about, with trailers, anytime you're doing like trailer haul and things like this, it's all about, taking your time, being a little bit fussy, not getting in a rush, make sure everything's good to go before everything's good to go, okay? So that's very important. There's that. There we go. Real quick before we move on, another thing before you move your trailer anytime, make sure everything's strapped down. I kind of use this as my kind of just an additional storage trailer. Make absolutely sure that everything that you got inside of it is tied down before you move it, because otherwise you might have some problems. So you don't want things flopping around, bumping around. So we're gonna get this cleaned out here, and we'll get her to the point where basically we got that trailer in there and we have the wheel chock in there. So that's how we're gonna do it. So another quick note I'm gonna make about your trailer, primarily your tires. Those wear out too. Make sure you're replacing them. Trailer tires wear out just like regular tires. They're out in the sun. They got like 5 years or so. These ones were on there for a while. These are the original ones that came with it in 2013. And well, yep, they look okay, but if you look closely, you can see, you might not be able to tell on the GoPro, but you can tell there's a couple spots where they're wear checked and stuff. So we ended up replacing them. We're gonna keep those in here though, because those are gonna be our spare tires. So we'll keep them in here. All right, and we'll get those old tires out of here too. Before we get started here, a few things I want to note. Obviously, it works better if you have a wheel chock, but in the end, you know, you can use blocks of wood. Something basically like something to put a little bit of pressure from the bike on. Now this chock here, it's basically meant to where the bike can go in it, and the bike will stay there upright, and then I can chain it, or I can basically strap it down like I need to without having to hold it up. The reason why the strap is on there is basically that's on there so when I do unload the bike that I can actually get it out of there, because this one likes to move. This isn't the good Kendon one. This is like the, well, it's probably like $60-$70 Harbor Freight one, but it does what I need it to do. But other than that, basically when you're lining up, well, there's several different ways to do this. I am a ride it up kind of person. Kind of depends on your preference. Bigger bikes, I'm very much a ride it up person. If this was my Virago, it'd probably be a different story. One of the big things, and this is where a trailer is really nice, is, well, with a trailer, you don't have near as steep of a climb usually. If you're getting a big ramp coming out of a pickup truck, usually the climb is a lot steeper and it's a little bit more challenging. So, but one thing that sucks about riding it up, it's really easy to ride something like that Virago up. It's a lot harder to do it with the Goldwing because, well, you have a big fairing in the way. So you really have nothing to eye it up on. What I will usually do when I'm trying to load up is obviously make sure I'm clearing the trailer. But then you can kind of see through the wheel well there. You can kind of see in front of you. So I usually kind of try to eye up through that. It's usually what I do. Other than that, I keep the feet flat-footed and I just kind of take it easy and climb up it. That's all I do. It's easier said than done. Obviously, if you're nervous about it, definitely getting a friend wouldn't be a bad idea. Someone to help you out. But yeah, we're going to try and load this thing. The plan is we're going to put the Goldwing on this side and we're going to put my trailer on this side. So this is going to be a little bit more of a challenge than what I normally do. Because normally what I would do is, well, normally we wouldn't be bringing the trailer. We'd have the bike in here and that we wouldn't have the trailer with it. But this time we do. So that's what we're going to try to do. We'll see how this goes. This may end up being something that doesn't work very well. Who knows? I mean, honestly, who the hell knows how this is going to work out? That's kind of where I'm at on this one. I don't know if that's a warm, fuzzy feeling or not, but it's a feeling, I guess. So let's do it. Okay, I'm kind of going to aim the center of my bike for that chock. That's what I'm going to try to do anyway. Actually, I'm going to let this sit here and just settle down the idle for a second. Because it's idling pretty high for me to want to do this, to be honest with you. So let it idle down. I would recommend you always idle it down before you get going. Just so then you got the full control of the bike. So I'm gonna let that idle for a minute. If you got an air suspension or something like that, raise it up to its highest level. So otherwise, you may have an issue with it catching. So be wary of that. All right, I think we're idled down enough now where I'm comfortable. We didn't catch, that's good. Now I'm just gonna kind of start trying to eye up that chock a little bit. Oh shoot, antennas. Forgot the antennas. Always remember your antennas. You can feel it catch. Not quite, yep, just keep going. So you'll feel it kind of catch. And then right in like that, it'll go. Let's put it in neutral. And let's take a look. One of the great things about this wheel chock is you can do that. That's what's really nice about that wheel chock. Just like that. It did that little, yeah, with the, well, hopefully my sound's still good on that. Okay, why I use this chock is because of this. Because it'll just hold it there for a bit while you can strap it. Now, if you're having issues, if you just have a regular chock that won't hold up like that, best way to do that is basically you pull the bike in, then you'll just loosely strap, basically wheel the bike in, put it on its kickstand. I would suggest, especially if you're in a pickup that's got a bed liner in it that moves, like one of them just plastic ones you can put on top, put like a piece of plywood or something on where the kickstand goes so it doesn't screw that cover up. Put it on its kickstand. You'll go to the kickstand side, throw a strap, basically, you know, throw a strap, make it kind of loose, cinch it down a little bit, and then just kind of lift it up and see kind of where it holds it up. And then once it kind of looks like it'll hold it kind of maybe a little bit kind of about center, then you go strap the other side and you'll basically pull it to center just like that. That's a good way to do it. But with this style of chock, we ain't got to worry about that. Another nice thing about that, having that chock, is it just sits there. And those will just sit there all day. I mean, you wouldn't want to run down the road with them, but, and it looks like, oh yeah, plenty of space. Perfect. Like that. That's perfect. That should work. So when we strap this down, we'll make sure and strap it kind of pulling that way, so that way we don't have a collision between the two things going here. Yep. All right, I'm gonna pull that out though so we got some room. All right, well, let's strap this down, shall we? A quick note about your straps. Make sure you use good straps, okay? Inspect them before you use them. That's a big thing to look for too. Inspect them before you use them, okay? So, you want to make sure, like, if they got hooks like this, make sure your hooks are good. Take a good look at the whole strap. Kind of see, just take a look at it. Kind of look at where everything is sewn together. That's a big thing to look for. Look for where things are sewn together. Make sure, like I said, make sure everything's all on the up and up. Now, from experience, now, it didn't cost me a lot of money because it was a cheap bike, but learn from my experiences. Way when I started motorcycling, this was like 2005 time frame, I was hauling the bike, and I was one short on straps, but I found another strap, had a little tiny fray in it, but I figured we were good. Well, about 200 miles down the road, I looked in my mirror. I was hauling 3 motorcycles, and one of the 3 motorcycles was on its side. Which one do you want to guess was on its side? That's right, the one on the frayed strap. Well, in the wind, you got to understand that these straps are, you know, they've constantly got some pressure on them, and eventually they're going to fail. So make sure there is no rips, tears, anything like that in them. If there are any tears, rips in them, guess what? If it's something you can still salvage, like say it's about here, you know what, you could salvage it and just make a nice short strap out of this. Otherwise, throw it away. Basically, do not rely on that frayed end at all. At all. You absolutely do not want to do that. So now, there's several different ways you can strap this. I've seen about every single way. A lot of guys, what they'll do, and here, let me show you on another motorcycle. And this will work on bikes that ain't got fairings. A lot of people like these handlebars. I would stay away from handlebars. Probably a better place to go if you're going to strap like that is go to the triple tree here, like right above the triple tree here, like go around this, and basically you can pull down pressure on the forks. That's one way to do it. I do not like doing it that way, mainly because I don't like to be putting undue pressure on my forks. So, and you could do it this way on this too, but the issue is your top, well, basically the top of the triple tree is right up here. So you see, or yeah, you can see where the triple tree is right there. So it couldn't be done. But the way I like to do it is I actually like to go around the axle bolt. And the reason I go around the axle bolt, because then the suspension can kind of just, like basically the bike suspension can just kind of move, you know, as you're going down the road, it can just sit there and it can bounce around. And the nice thing about that is, well, you're not putting pressure on your forks. Essentially, I like to strap it like you would strap down like a car hauling it down the road. You're going to go around the tires or like the axles, but you're going to leave like the main suspension of the machine intact. That way it can kind of absorb bumps going down the road. Because the one problem is if you rinse these down, what is with the panic alarms today? My God. Last 2 days have been ridiculous for panic alarms. Anyways. Lost my train of thought. So anyways, yeah, I like to go, I don't, like I said, you're keeping that pressure off them forks. Them forks aren't getting compacted or anything. You're not putting undue pressure on them for miles and miles and miles. So I haven't had an issue with doing it that way yet. And I've been hauling bikes like this for quite a long time now. So, and the best thing about it, when you go to the axle, guess what? You don't have to retighten the straps. You just check them. Most of the time, if you're going and relying on the forks for compression, guess what? You're going to have to, every once in a while, you're going to have to go back, probably tighten them up. Or if you get on a really rough road, it's going to start loosening things up. And that sucks. So, anyways, let's start strapping these down while you listen to the beautiful music of a panic alarm. If you're not, I would always recommend, if you don't know whose panic alarm is going off, you go verify it. Because there's probably a good chance, if it ain't being shut off, that it's your panic alarm going off. Just saying. That's a fun tip from me for you today. Obviously, we know that mine isn't the culprit of it, because, well, I'm sitting right behind it. We would definitely know if mine was going off, I assure you. Still going off. Honk, honk, honk. Oh, did they finally shut it off? My God. And we're gonna hook that. Hey, they shut it off finally. Obviously, remember, don't pull it completely taut. You want a little bit, you're gonna need some, actually that's too tight already. We gotta loosen that up just a little bit more. So kind of there. To get a good bite, you want the strapping to wrap all the way around it. At least once, so. There we go. You ain't got to put a ton of pressure on it. Just enough. Just enough pressure just to hold it on there. Actually, I think we're going to swap that strap out because I don't like that strap. Talking about frayed straps. That one's looking a little rough. All right, next one. Hopefully it's not too loud in my DJI mic. Sorry, but you're probably just going to have to deal with it a little bit. Sorry, guys. Is what it is.
Oh, cool. Got freight in on that one. All right. Well,
I'm going to show you real quick how to fix the strap, because this is part of it. All right, so pretty simple. First thing we're going to do, get your box cutter, X-Acto knife, pair of scissors, whatever. And we're going to slit it. We're going to try to slit it. There we go. Get rid of that old end. Next thing you're going to do, take your torch, melt the end. You don't gotta get too crazy with it. Basically, you're just melting the end of it so it doesn't unravel, basically. Just like this. Just little by little. Don't touch it. Or if you're gonna touch it, have some gloves. We're gonna just, basically you wanna get rid of the whole fray. And just like that, we have a fixed strap. Yeah, anything like this on a strap, you throw it away and get rid of the piece.
but that's nice. You don't have to fully condemn a strap. All right, now, just like we did before, I'm gonna slip it through here. Maybe. Actually, we're gonna run this the other way. Or not. This is really the biggest downfall of this is when you go to run the strap through. It's a pain in the neck. Well, or today it's really going to be difficult. I guess everything else is difficult today, so why not straps on a bike? There we go. Like I said, you kind of need some patience with that. And just like that, you got a piece of strap coming out for you. And you know what? Because we're... Normally you'd want to get that twist out of there. But since we're... And there we go. And now, if you look at that, now we're strapped in. And it ain't going anywhere either. And look at when you're hitting these bumps. Look what's going on with the strap. Barely any movement. It moves a little bit, but not a lot. And that's how you want that to be. Yep. You don't need the cinch down all day, but well, guess what? We're gonna have to change that again. I got another frayed spot right there. Okay, well, that strap's gotta go. Actually, that whole strap looks like garbage. Well, guess what? We have found out today that I am in some serious need of some straps. So, we're going to get some here probably tomorrow. Or the day after, whatever. Anyways, I don't like the look of any of that, so... Yep, another one for the scrap heap. Alright, third time's the charm. Another thing I will note with straps is buy straps that... well, first of all, you want to buy actual rapid straps. You'll see straps out there that, well, you know, you can just pull on it and it'll just hold it down. For something like this, I would highly recommend you do not use a strap like that. Use an actual ratchet strap. And you can get honestly as fancy with your straps as you want to. I mean, they make straps that are will, like, you know, retract with you and all that stuff. You don't need anything like that. Just a basic ratchet strap. I'd say find something that can, I don't know, I'd almost say go with the pull strength of like what your bike is at least. So I'd say if you got, I think you can get 1,000-pounders pretty reasonable. I'd say go with 1,000-pounder each. That should give you plenty of space. The other thing, we're not going to do it here because this is a trailer that, well, because this trailer, because we're inside here. But if you got stuff going outside, you want to secure the straps. There's several ways to do it. You can put them together like this, like that. You can tie a knot around the strap. You can roll them up all nice and tight. You can put like a zip tie around them or something. What I usually do is I'll do this number. You'll just take it, you'll start wrapping it up. Kind of see how I'm wrapping that, like so. And obviously, like I said, we don't need to worry about this because we're inside a trailer. So there's really no weather getting in here. So it can be as windy as it wants to be outside. But you get pretty close to your end here. And then take kind of the little bit you got left, wrap it around like that, pull her tight. And that should do a pretty good job of holding it going down the road. Obviously, you can't quite set it and forget it. I mean, you should never be set and forget with anything on a trailer anyway. Anytime you stop, always get out, check your straps, make sure everything's looking good. I think we're setting pretty. I think we are. But like I said, I do like, you can see how the top moves, but the bottom really doesn't. It really kind of just holds everything in there like it should. Yep, just like that. Yep, really holds everything in like it should. Just like that. And like I said, you're going down the road, you really want to make sure you're checking this all the time. All right, let's do the back real quick. All right, few notes on strapping your back tire. So the nice thing about when you got it strapped up front, it's hold down. It ain't going anywhere. For the most part, really all you need on the back end is usually I'll put one strap just kind of just from one side of the wheel to the other, just around it. I'll put a little tension on it and call it good. Because really all you're doing there is you're preventing any major balancing, I guess. But for the most part, once it's set up and good to go, it's set up and good to go. In reality, especially if you're in a shock, 2 straps, you're fine. But the other thing to keep in mind is think about what our friend the police officer says. A lot of it is just like straps. We do that stuff in DOT too. We'd call it, just a feel-good strap. Basically, just something that would let the authorities know, yep, I care. I don't want to break nothing. Like, that's kind of what it is. It's kind of really, like I said, it's kind of the back strap, in my mind, especially if you're in a chock, is kind of a waste of time. I would say if you're not in a chock, then I would definitely say it'd probably be a good idea to put a strap on the other side. Because really, in the end, every strap's kind of doing part of the job to make sure that everything stays. But this is pretty easy. You're basically just looking to just hold down the back end a little bit. That's really all you're doing. You can see right here, got enough out of it already. I'm gonna go ahead and just start ratcheting it. And you're kind of just getting it to the point where, yep, the pressure on it's good. Let's make sure. One thing you want to make sure of, though, is make sure that you're not anywhere near your valve stem. Always watch out for that in this situation. Make sure you're well away from your valve stem. Because if you ain't, well, you bust your valve stem. Oh yeah, I can see it's way up there. You bust your valve stem, it's going to be a bad day. So make sure you're not anywhere near the valve stem, which right here it looks like we are. Well, hold on now. Oh yeah, we're good. Yeah, that's just up by the caliper. That's all. But yeah, just like that. There you go. Just like so. We got everything strapped. I'm happy with it. Say, no, I ain't going nowhere, hook yuck. I don't like that expression, and here's why. Because sometimes things do go places. And you may have it strapped down super tight, but sometimes things go wrong. But that's it for the, I guess, the strapping portion of this. We will reconvene this video in a few days when I'm on the road, and I'll give you some tips as far as going down the road. As far as unloading goes, pretty much the same steps in reverse. Biggest thing when you're unloading, and I'll go through it when it comes, but biggest thing when you're unloading is keep control of that brake. That brake is your friend. That's what's going to keep you from going out of control. But, well, I think that's enough for this little part. Good morning. It's go day. So, got everything packed up. I'm just going through and doing the light check here real quick. I got blinkers lights. Yep, blinker lights. Brakes. Yep. Tail lights. Everything looks good. Nice and early here. 14 in the morning. So, oh yeah. You can get in here. Go through here. Let's see. Check out the lights. I do like having the light switch in there. That's kind of nice. So we're gonna check out lights real quick. Gonna hook that stupid thing on there. Or excuse me, not lights. Straps. That strap's good. I mean, nothing really went anywhere last, since I moved it last. Got a trailer full of stuff there. It really does make it nice and bright in here, that's for sure, with these lights. Alright, those lights are good. $11 hours ahead of us, so said, we're up plenty early. That is just fine. Sometimes it's better to get up and at them nice and early, but well, I guess we're off. Alright, when you're hauling about, you want to stop every so often. I usually like to stop about 50 miles after I get going, and I just do a double check. I make sure my straps are still good. Make sure loads are still good. Make sure nothing shifted too bad. Doesn't look like it. Gonna sneak back here and do the same thing here. Yep. Well, yep, nothing shifted too bad. We're sitting pretty good.
Good to double check that.
And then
Just kind of doing just a quick once over of the whole trailer. Come down the line,
give my wheels a feel. Make sure tires don't feel hot. Put my hand near the wheel bearing. Make sure I ain't got bearings getting hot, because those get hot and burn out, you're screwed. Same deal. Just, yep. Nothing looks out of the ordinary, except for that cover that keeps falling off, but it just won't stay on there, so I need a new cover solution. But I guess we can move along.
Okay, so let's talk about pulling a trailer when you're in traffic. So I've shown you all the how to load the trailer, how to hook up the trailer, all that, but I didn't really talk about driving the trailer. So first thing you gotta understand, when you put a trailer on any vehicle, you've completely changed that vehicle. It is a complete change. It's something completely different. It's gonna pull different. It's gonna feel different. It's gonna behave differently in accelerating, in braking, in shifting gears, and all of that. One thing I would tell you to do first of all is, if you have a vehicle that has some kind of trailer mode or towing mode or something like that, go ahead and activate it. On some of your older vehicles, it's mostly just all the trailer mode was is it kind of would shut off your overdrive, which if you got something like that, frankly, you don't really need overdrive when you're towing, because it's just you need those gears to pull. Now, I'm just assuming that you have a manual transmission or automatic transmission, excuse me, because most people all have an automatic transmission. But if you got a manual, you can kind of play it by ear and feel kind of where you're sitting at. But if you do have a manual transmission, I would also tell you this: don't be afraid to shift down. You're going to need to shift down, especially if you're trying to pull a big hill, or if you're trying to get going and accelerate. If you're used to going off in second gear, just start it off in first gear, unless you see that, yep, second gear pulls just fine, but chances are you're going to need to run that thing into first gear to start it out. If you have a newer vehicle with tow mode, it's very beneficial for you, because it's going to change the gearing on it. It's going to make it so it will be in the right gear. It won't upshift as quick. Essentially, most vehicles now are just set up for fuel mileage, and well, you don't want fuel mileage mode when you're towing, because you're not going to get fuel mileage when you're towing. It's just going to eat up a lot of fuel. And we'll get back to that in a second. But with the tow mode, like for example, my pickup, I have a 22 F-150 with a 3.5 EcoBoost, and it has the 10-speed transmission in it. And when you switch that thing into tow mode, first of all, I get all 10 gears. It will go through all 10 gears. It doesn't jump gears like it does in normal mode. Also, some of the nice things that'll do is if I slow down and I'm going down a hill, that transmission will actually hold me in the right gear so I can use some engine braking. So for the most part, this trip I was recently on, I didn't have to do any gear shifting or nothing at all. Like the tow mode on that pickup was just like a dream. And I would assume most of the new vehicles are like that. Now, I said this before, but even on automatic transmission, don't be afraid to shift a gear, especially if you're going downhill. If you're going down some really, really tight hills, some really steep hills, you're going to want to shift down. Obviously, be smart about your downshifts, but you're going to want to slow down enough so you can downshift. And you generally will want to stay in that proper gear until you are through the hilly section. One thing I do when driving, especially when I'm going up and down hills, if I'm going down a hill, one of the things they taught us to do, I was taught to do when I learned how to drive a semi-truck, like big truck, like real truck, not a pickup truck, but a real truck, like 80,000 pounds commercial vehicle truck. One thing we're taught, obviously, nice thing about one of those is generally you got Jake brakes in it, which you aren't going to have probably when you're towing. But one thing you can do when you're towing is do not ride those brakes down the hill. Do not ride the brakes down the hill. If you need to slow down, what you should be doing is gradually slowing down, and ideally you're going to want to be slower speed before you start your descent, and also the right gear before you start your descent. But one thing, once you are going, one thing you can do to determine, okay, what do I want, what gear do I want to be in, or what do I want to do going down this hill? First of all, if you a lot of times the big hills, especially in Colorado, they'll kind of give you some warnings of, hey, at the end of this hill, there's a 35 mile per hour curve, plan ahead, things like that. And maybe take that information and you're going to want to set that as what you would say your safe speed, the speed you don't want to go any faster than. And then once you start down the hill, the best way to do that is you're going to want to keep it to, basically you're going to slow down until you're 5 miles under your safe speed. So let's say your safe speed is 45 miles an hour. You slow down to 40. And then you'll let off the brakes at 40. Let off the brakes at 40. Let the vehicle come back up to your safe speed, which is 45. Hit your brakes again. The reason why you should brake like that is that way you can give your brakes a chance to cool off a little bit before the next braking. Because if you keep braking and you ride those brakes, not only are you eventually going to tear up your rotors, which it sucks to do brake jobs, and also that's where you get your, that real shaky feeling when you hit your brakes. Yeah, it's probably because your rotors are warped as hell. But so if you ride the brakes, that's one thing that can come for it. Also, eventually you could possibly burn your brakes out. You possibly glaze your brakes over and now you've lost your stopping power. And now you have a runaway vehicle situation, which you don't want to be in that at all. So biggest thing is keep it in a low gear. Be smart about what you're doing. Don't be fast. Also, just driving around, just general, you don't have the acceleration you're going to have. Plan when you're pulling out. Don't just gun it and pull out in front like you normally would do and expect it to have the same performance, because it will not. So also, when you're slowing down, plan ahead your stops. Be looking well ahead of you. I'm talking like half mile ahead of you. Just keeping an eye on what traffic's doing and preparing for slowing down so you don't have to make a sudden slowdown at the end and really stress the brakes on your pickup and also, or your tow vehicle and also your trailer. That's another one of those things that comes from driving a semi. That's how you, when you're in a semi truck, that's how you keep from getting in a bad situation. You look well ahead and you plan ahead with your stopping. Another thing, going back to that fuel mileage, your fuel mileage is going to suck. It's just the way it is. You're not going to, if you're looking to save fuel, guess what? Maybe towing's not your thing. And also, if you're really worried about saving fuel, maybe you should disregard this whole video entirely and just ride the bike there. Just saying, because you're going to lose a lot of fuel mileage. Normally my pickup, like I said before, 22 F-150, 3.5 EcoBoost, 10-speed transmission. I do anywhere from 21 to 23 when I'm going down the road. And that's mostly going down in the country here, doing 65, 70 miles an hour, not getting too crazy. I'm not too crazy with the throttle. I'm not terribly aggressive with it. But you go from that to in my pickup pulling that trailer, and mind you, this trailer is about 35 pounds. I think the gross is 3650. So, and we were probably loaded up at maybe 2,700, maybe 3,000, and it was mostly 11 and a half miles per gallon the whole time. We managed to get up to 12 right as I got back to town, and I think we were helped considerably by a southern wind and also the amount of time we spent driving around the mountains, not at the full speed. And one ways that you can save some fuel is your throttle, is with your throttle foot, as in if the speed limit of the interstate's 80, maybe don't go 80. Maybe don't even go 75. Maybe go 70 max. You'd be amazed the amount of fuel you would save by going 70 or 65. And that's part of the reason why I tended to stay on the 2-lane roads or on the side roads traveling. Now, if it's quicker to go on the interstate, obviously it's quicker to go on the interstate. The interstate has lots of advantages still. Just understand, if you're going a little slower on the interstate, guess what? It's going to seem like everybody's flying by you. You know what? Let them do their thing. Because in the end, you're no different than a truck. Trucks do the same stuff all the time. And that's just how it is. So, frankly, kind of take a mentality of a truck driver on that. And like I said, just understand you're going to burn fuel. Now, if you don't care about fuel mileage, and because I would guess my pickup, if I kept it at like 80 miles an hour on the interstate, I probably would have got 8 or 9 at most. But here's another thing, one more thing you want to keep in mind with your speed, is if know what your speed rating is on your trailer tires. Because, well, I think most of the trailer tires you see, I think it's 1,800 pounds is the standard of it. I think it's I don't know exactly what ply standard is, but like my standard tires on my trailer, the speed rating on them is 81 miles an hour. So if you want to go over 81 miles an hour, maybe make sure you got the right speed rating on your tires. Because if you're going over what the speed rating is on your tire, you will eventually have a tire blowout, and that's a really, really bad day. I've managed to go all these years without having one yet. I'm gonna knock on some wood, but it's just a matter of using your head and don't be stupid about things. And also scrubbing that little bit of speed, you know what, that'll help you if you have to make a sudden stop, or if you have to stop to, you know, not run over an animal or something like that. Because also, that would be a bad day. When you're going down the road too, keep an eye in your mirrors of what your trailer's doing. If you have an open trailer, just keep looking back at that bike. Just keep an eye on the bikes back there. Just make sure they're still standing up. Make sure nothing looks too crazy. Make sure no straps are flopping around. If you have an enclosed trailer, you won't be able to see what it's doing in there, but you still should be keeping an eye on whether enclosed or open trailers by what are your tires doing? Are tires starting to look low? Do you have a tire that's maybe looks like it's wobbling on the back? Also, you're stopping it every single time you stop. You're getting in that enclosed trailer and you're checking everything out. You're checking the straps out at every time you stop. You're checking your hitch every time you stop. You're checking your axles to make sure they're not hot. You're checking your tires to make sure they're not going low. You should make that check every single time you stop. Just get in the habit of doing it every single time, because, you know, you might catch that one thing that'll save you a really bad day, and it's better to catch that beforehand for sure. If you're one of those that, man, I really got to get places and got to get places, you know what, maybe, like I said again, maybe towing isn't for you. Maybe you should either ride to where you're going or leave your bike at home, fly to where you're going, and rent a bike there. Because one thing with towing, it takes some patience and a little bit of skill and just understanding, you know, what you're up against with your towing. Because, and in the end, in my mind, you're towing your motorcycle. It's probably one of your prides and joy. You're probably very proud of your motorcycle. You probably have a lot of money in that motorcycle. To me, it just would baffle me that, you know, you're going to tow with a sketchy trailer with bad tires and never check your straps and never pay attention to what you're doing and go 90 miles an hour on tires that aren't rated for that when you have your $50,000 or $60,000 CVO Harley in the back. That just baffles me. Like, you know, understand what you're hauling, understand it's important, and just, like I said, don't be stupid about it. Just be smart with what you're doing. Don't be in a hurry. Give yourselves plenty of time. If it normally takes you 10 hours to go somewhere, just add 2 hours. Just automatically add 2 hours, because you're probably going to be stopping a little more. You're going to be spending a little more time at stops. As far as if you're stopping for places to eat, things like that, you're going to be getting into places that maybe you have to walk a little further. I would recommend, too, if you're pulling, maybe stick to your truck stops for where you're stopping for fuel and things. And I say that because, well, truck stops just have better infrastructure for larger vehicles. The little corner gas station might have 4 parking spots. And if you have a pickup and a trailer behind it, well, you're already going to take 2 spots right there. And if they're side by side and it's right by the road, you just won't have enough room to get in there. So stick to like truck stops, places that got plenty of room for fuel and food stops and all that. Just, it's going to make your life a lot easier. But I guess it's about time in this video where we're getting ready to go. Well, actually, we've already left for Colorado, but maybe see a little bit of how things, well, nope. And we've already done our little checks in Edgemont. So I guess the next stop will be I think going home, or actually, yeah, getting home and unloading it. But anyways, that's it. All right. When you're getting ready to unstrap, make sure you're going to undo the ratchets. You know, that's just what's going to happen. Make sure when you're undoing the ratchets that you're kind of cognizant of, like, okay, is something going to come over on you? Something like that. Just make sure you kind of just be careful when you're letting off the straps. Obviously, it's not as big of a deal when you got a chock like mine, but if you do not, if it's just a regular chock, be ready for that thing to move over on you. Ideally, what I'd recommend doing is, if you don't have a chock that holds it up, put your kickstand down, and as you're undoing the ratchet, actually I'll kind of show you here on this one. Basically, you kind of want to just hold the handlebar, and then you're just going to kind of just let it loose. Now, because of the way I strap mine, it comes off pretty easily.
But that'll be something to keep in mind when you're trying to undo it. Now, so we got the one side undone. I'm not gonna make you watch me pulling it out. And other side completely undone. And if you got a hook on one end, you can undo the hook on the one end. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing unloaded. Yeah, you don't necessarily need to start your bike to unload it. But the reason I do is so I can use the power of reverse gear. Just like that. And actually, because I'm unloading up a hill, I'm gonna have to keep going in reverse, aren't I? Oh, maybe not. There we go. And there you go. It is now unloaded. You got any antennas? Put them back up. I guess it's official now. We're home. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the Rider's Manual Common Test, how to tow your motorcycle. And we successfully did it. We loaded the thing up, got it to Montrose, we unloaded it, we reloaded it again, brought it back home. Didn't have too many crazy issues. You know, just by taking it easy, not being stupid, keeping an eye on things, and you're able to do it. And like I said, this is something anybody can do, you know, with a little bit of just, you know, using your head, a little forethought, don't get too crazy with things. Anybody can do this for sure. And, you know, this is definitely something that come in handy if you need to get your bike worked on somewhere or something else. And let's say you don't have a Harley, meaning they're not going to come pick it up for you for free. Well, you know, for us that don't ride the almighty Harley, you know, we have a way to get our bike there if we absolutely have to. Also, if you want to take a trip somewhere, let's say you live way up north and you want to go to Daytona Bike Week and it's in March, and well, where you live in March, there's still a foot of snow on the ground. Well, guess what? Throw it in a trailer. There you go. You can get down to Florida and you can ride all you want to. So I definitely think this is something handy for a motorcyclist to know for sure. But anyways, I'd like to thank you for stopping by Soak Motorcycle Blog. You can stay tuned for more content like this. Once again, you can, at the end of this video, you'll have the link to the playlist for the Rider's Manual Common Task, where I show you many different things that I've done over the years, and that list keeps growing. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you dislike this video, hit the dislike button. Please feel free to leave a comment. Good comments, suggestions for improvement. Also, if you're one of them gold wingers that's absolutely mad at me for having the audacity to tow a gold wing, go ahead. Leave your angry comments too. That'll work. That's fine. But anyways, for the Soak Motorcycle Blog, I'm Clutch. We'll see you later.